Professional guitarist.
Mga
nag-play talaga sa sikat na banda. Yun yung mga napapanood mo.
Ano yun?
Di ba sisitaw siya yun? Stephen Curry, nagtuturo ng basketball sa online class ngayon. Ngayon yung course na makabasic sa basketball, matutunan mo para maging galing nila.
Happy birthday, Sir Claus.
Hello, test. So we will begin our program in a few minutes.
Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Guten Tag. Willkommen in Consulat der Philippinen. Welcome to the Philippine Consulate General in Frankfurt. I'm Fatima Mueller, and I'm your host for this afternoon. Here's my partner for today, Mr. Klaus Hartung.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As mentioned, I'm Klaus Hartung, representing Transwing Art Gallery, the co-organizer for this exhibition in the General Consulate here in Frankfurt, Germany. You can see 5 artworks in the backside, and we will have another 26 artworks in our virtual online exhibition. But let us start, after a few technical problems, with the speech of our host here, Fatima Müller, Vice Consul here in Frankfurt.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hartung. I'm sorry, dear viewers, for the small technical problem. So, hello to our kababayans in Munich, in Stuttgart, in Essen, and even in Berlin. So, wherever you are watching right now in Germany or anywhere in the world, so please comment your location in the comment section of our Facebook page. So, magandang gabi din po sa ating mga Zoom participants from the Philippines. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. I can see some of our artists in the Zoom meeting right now. So I hope you can see them also on the screen. So these are our featured artists for this afternoon. So usually we would have invited you for this live opening for this opening event of our art exhibition. But as you all know that we are living in unprecedented times, we want to ensure your safety. That is why we are bringing to you live from your computer screens or smartphones the artworks of our artists for today. So this pandemic has indeed affected the art community, especially in the Philippines. That's why we want to start the conversations on how the pandemic has affected them. So at this point, I would like to give you the opening message of our dear Consul General Evelyn D. Austria Garcia.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Thank you for joining us in this webinar, the second in a series. I wish to thank Transwing Art Gallery and Mr. Klaus Hartung for his enthusiasm in bringing this art exhibition, even virtually, to Germany. Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Thank you for joining us in this webinar, the second in a series. I wish to thank Transwing Art Gallery and Mr. Klaus Hartung for his enthusiasm in bringing this art exhibition, even virtually, to Germany. We are therefore pleased to conduct this online art exhibition entitled Envisioning Healing and Inspiration from Abroad, Overseas Filipinos Supporting Filipino Artists.
Pasensya na po, nagkakaroon lang po tayo ng technical problem. Please again, let us welcome Consul General Evelyn D. Austria Garcia.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Thank you for joining us in this webinar, the second in a series. I wish to thank Transwing Art Gallery and Mr. Klaus Hartung for his enthusiasm in bringing this art exhibition, even virtually, to Germany. We are therefore pleased to conduct this online art exhibition entitled Envision Healing and Inspiration from Abroad, Overseas Filipinos Supporting Filipino Artists. May I invite you to take a moment and look at the artwork from your screens. These pieces represent the response of Filipino artists to the pandemic, you may see different emotions in their art, including expressions of pain and anguish. Not surprising, given the adverse effects of the pandemic. Nevertheless, these artists have created images that allow us to ponder on what is happening. These images may serve as remedies in times of uncertainty. This so-called pandemic art can be seen as the artist's contribution to our nation's well-being, cohesion, and even unity. During this period, each of us faced challenges we had never experienced. This is equally true for the arts sector, with their means of livelihood affected significantly. Now, more than ever, it is vital that we recognize and protect the work of our artists, both for their economic well-being and the preservation of a part of our culture. I call on our kababayans in Germany and abroad to lend their support to Filipino artists and support them in the crucial months ahead. Let us ensure that they emerge even more vibrant. Like all of you, I look forward to the day when the arts can again be exhibited or performed with all its splendor. For now, let us experience the cathartic power of art through this virtual exhibition. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay kayong lahat.
Thank you very much, Consul General Evelyn D, Austria Garcia. Pasensya na po sa konting technical issues po natin. Ganito po talaga. We are all struggling in this pandemic as we are struggling in the new normal. Itong art exhibit po natin ay going online for the first time. That's why we're having some technical issues. But I hope you please bear with us. So before we proceed any further to our program for today, let me ask you a question, our dear viewers. Have you looked to art for comfort in this uncertain time? So I'm sure marami po sa atin ang struggling to cope up with this pandemic. That is why we find some ways to cope up with this thing going on right now. So for our artists, their way of coping up is to have their art to make art for themselves. This is how they want to give you, to share to you their art. So right now we have uploaded some of the photos of our artists on our Facebook page. So all you have to do is share some support, leave your comments, and leave some messages of hope, healing, and inspiration. Maliit na bagay lang po itong aming hinihiling. Ang pag-comment nyo po ay, I'm sure, malayo pong mararating para sa ating mga artists sa panahon ng pandemya. Okay, for our online exhibition, we will bring you pandemic and the arts. So you will see a lot of things associated with the pandemic, such as face masks, face shields, even ambulances, or mga healthcare workers. Or some of our artists also chose to have their themes such as hope and healing. You will also see a lot of vibrant colors in our work of art. So that's why please choose your artwork in our Facebook page and like and comment po. Secondly, I want to emphasize that the pandemic had a substantial impact on the arts and cultural sector of our society. Most of our cultural and art workers are freelancers. They don't have employer-employee relations to support them in these times of crisis. According to the Philippine Statistics Office Authority, this is about 10% unemployment rate in July this year. And 54% of the art sector has been affected by this crisis. So in April 2019, there are about 436 art workers, but by April this year, there are only about 200,000 of them who have jobs. This leads me to my next um, point. Our aim for this virtual art exhibition is to inspire conversations about the challenges of this pandemic to our art sector. Hopefully, these conversations can help support our visual artists in these difficult times. The National Commission for the Culture and the Arts in the DOLE have also distributed some financial assistance, but these are not enough. They need our support. That's why we are having this online art exhibition to gather support for our Filipino artists. At this point, may I now turn you over to Mr. Klaus Hartung. Mr. Klaus Hartung is the president and owner of Transwing Art Gallery. Sir Hartung?
Thank you. Dear ladies and gentlemen, magandang hapon here in Germany, magandang gabi in the Philippines. Guten Tag. Dear friends of the Philippines, Madame Evelyn Austria Garcia, representative of other embassies and consulate, the German embassy in the Philippines, the German Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry in the Philippines, German Club, the Art Plus magazine, different institutions in Philippines, in Germany, distinguished guests, liebe Gäste. And last but not least, all the best to our participating artists related to our gallery and all the visual and sculptural artists and all artists in the world, in Philippines and Germany, watching our online exhibition. Envisioning healing and inspiration from abroad. As mentioned already, the art sector worldwide, like any other sectors, has been hit hard by this pandemic. The Philippine art sector even harder, since there is hardly any social security, especially for artists, as often in the world. For the Filipino artist, the response to this virus was the creation of a new art reality. But there will be a lot of challenges for all artists and a long way to go to return to work in the so-called new normal. We have joined efforts here to bring you artworks and to show you the quality of the art in the Philippines. Transwing Art Gallery is proud to present to you online the latest collection from our roster of artists who, like everybody else, had to deal with quarantine, loss of income, and all the other restrictions brought about by this pandemic. Let us look first on the artists related to our gallery. I will click on a clip.
Have a look on our artists related to our gallery. Our master and advisor, watercolor master of the Philippines, Mr. Rafael Popoy Cusi. Sculpturist from Pampanga, Arnel Garcia. Dexter Matias. Patricia Colentes, both are from Metro Manila. Hermie Pineda from Angeles. Manu San Pedro, and our artist and graphic designer Ariel Enriquez. Jeline Longuines from Laguna, Christian Carlo Gonzalez originating from Baguio, and Dominic Urbano originating from Catanduanes. Joshua Villena, Ana Fenemenso, Kevin Cubinar, Alvin Santiago, John Real Cutillo, and Shelo Ilisorio, all are part-time artists. Andy Buenconsejo from Samar as an handicraft and bread artist, and Jezabella, a computer animation and clip artist from the 100 Island area of the Philippines. And our two student artists, Lucas Chana and Sarah Tario. The gallery as well is handling artworks of former Mabini artists like Cesar Benaventura, Oscar Ramos, and many more. Furthermore, we are holding a huge collection of the Picasso of the Philippines, Francisco Pajo Corospe, and many more. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us introduce our gallery a bit more, what we are doing here in the Philippines and here in Germany. We mainly entertain self-taught artists, but as well supporting young and not so young artists that are still studying, and we are entertaining them as well, some fine art graduates. Besides keeping this group of artists active in our gallery, as well through our consulting firm here in Germany, what did we do else? We published a book about Filipino art called Revisiting Mabini Art in English language in 2013. This art book is available in the Philippines. It's especially about the development of the art scene in the Philippines and about the Mabini art of self-taught artists in specific, and featuring at the end Paco Corospe, as mentioned before, as one of the Mabini artists well known in Mal. Vice Consul mentioned it before that we have had an exhibition before, and Transwing as well was the publisher of the German translation of the novels No Limitan Guerre and the El Filibusterismo into German language. In 2016, we supported the inauguration of the Rizal wine that was painted with the logo of one of our artists, Oscar Ramos. And when the wine was running out of stock last year, Transwing set up a competition with the mayor of Wilhelmsfeld, the village where your national hero, our national hero, Jose Rizal, lived close to Heidelberg, for a new label, which was finally selected, awarded, and printed, and finally sticked to the bottles of wine, designed by one of our artists, Dominic Urbano. And last but not least, our gallery, like many other galleries, do on-the-spot sessions with our artists holding exhibitions, for instance, in the German club in Manila, participating at Manila Fame as an exhibition area, and exhibitions in Germany and Europe countries. Like we are planning for Manila Fame Online this year, and for Lucca Art Exhibition in Italy in November. When we decided to go more online, like many other galleries and artists decided to, there are still chances and challenges. Many say artwork, like the artworks that you see behind me and the artworks you will see, they will speak for itself. But artworks not only speak for itself, they need support by the artist in kind of explaining what they are for, thinking about the artwork. Envisioning Healing and Inspiration from Abroad, we asked our artists to use the title for this exhibition to produce artworks that have a relation to this pandemic situation, as Vice Consul Fatima already mentioned, but should as well be a kind of inspiration and look forward into the future. Once again, I would deeply like to thank the institution, companies, and organizations that are supporting us, all of you that are listening and watching today. I'd like to thank the Consul General, represented by the Vice Consul Fatima Müller here, for the chance for Transwing to co-sponsor and co-join in this event. And I would like in advance to thank all of you who are considering maybe to acquire one of the artworks that are not so expensive, starting with 150 euro. This purchase of an artwork will help Filipino artists here in the Philippines. So kindly have a close look, and hopefully you will find an art piece that touches your heart. Fatima, I think we show them now. Our viewers have the virtual look into our artworks, and we show you the clips that we have produced with the 31 artworks. The 5 artworks you will see here are included in the clip.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hartung. I think we will begin our online tour of these artworks.
Welcome to our joint online exhibition between the Consulate General in Frankfurt, Germany, and our gallery. We are glad that you are visiting us, and now have a look on 31 artworks that we collected from our group of active artists for this online exhibition. We have actually set up 3 halls within our exhibition area, which we would like to present to you now in our virtual tour. As you have seen on the invitation flyer, the topic of our exhibition is Envisioning Healing and Inspiration from Abroad. The art sector worldwide and as well in the Philippines was hit hard, so many of our artworks were produced during this ongoing pandemic. This cruel situation influenced our artists in some or another way while creating their works. The artwork on the invite flyer for the joint exhibition is from one of part-time artists of the gallery, Christian Carlo Gonzalez. In his real life, he is actually one of the frontliner in the healthy community. Let us start with the first room. At the first panel, we will see the 3 artworks of Christian. On the left side of the wall, you see the mentioned artwork Genesis 1 to 3. The artist is stated, "Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground." The second artwork in the middle of Christian is all about life of Papa Isho. This artwork is about the bravery and sacrifices of people and farmers who plays an important role in the Sugarlandia in Negros. It all started with Papa Isho, who was the leader of a group of Pabaylanes that fought and protect their land against the non-Malays, Spaniards, and Americans, to name a few. And the third artwork is all about the catastrophic events that happen and currently happening in the world, from murder, racism, volcanic eruptions, pandemic, terrorism. But in the midst of these events, we know and we believe that there is light beyond darkness. Let us move on to the next panel with the 3 artworks of Dominic Urbano, another self-taught artist in the gallery. Dominic is already with the gallery many years by now. On the left side, you can see Ina, and Dominic said, "We must take care of our mother nature for the better future of the next generations. Nature will give the change on what exact things we give to it. Take care of it and Mother Nature will grant us the things that we need for living." And in the middle, Dominic brought his own version of Spoliarium. We can always look back a scene from the past by the artworks. The memories, the message, and the emotional scene will be reminisced. And finally, on the right side, you can see the third artwork of Dominic Urbano. It's all about the hero who continues to sacrifice for the fellow, endurance and blood and sweat efforts of workers, farmers, fishermen, and all who wholeheartedly resist the scourge of life. When we move to the artworks of Jerry Lindonguines, another self-taught artist in our gallery, you can see three artworks on the panel. Her first artwork on the left side is called Bagong Pag-asa. In our time, everyone has been affected by the pandemic. Everyone lost their jobs, become vulnerable, especially the emotional health. But always remember, don't forget to pray. Through faith in the Lord, this pandemic will end soon. In the middle, you can see her artwork, The Bright Side. Be optimistic, always look at the positive side of life. And the third artwork of one of our five lady artists, Cherilyn Dunguines, is on the right side. It's called The Colors of Bali. During the pandemic, we need to stay at home to be safe from the virus. And while at home, do not forget to pray to the Lord because He is the only hope of our lives. Moving forward to the next panel, we can see the three artworks of another of our lady artists, Ana Fenimenso. Ana Fe is one of the fine art studied artists of the gallery and have been with the gallery exhibiting in Europe and Germany for exhibition abroad. The description of her artwork are as follows. Let us start with the first artwork which she specially prepared for online exhibition, which you can see in the center of the panel. It's time for your season. Everything on earth has its own time and its own season. There are seasons in your spiritual life too. It's fine to pray for a miracle, but don't be disappointed if the answer comes through a gradual change. Over time, a slow, steady stream or water will erode the hardest rock and turn giant into pebbles. Over time, a little sprout can turn into a giant redwood tree. Remember how far you've come, not just how far you have to go. You are not where you want to be, but neither are you where you used to be. The next two artwork were made already the other year, but are as well related to hope and the circle the humans and the communities are in. The first artwork called The Circle of Life. The characters both developed and revealed by the test. While it needs to be said, all of life is a test. The purpose of your life is far greater than your own personal fulfillment, your peace of mind, or even your happiness. To discover the meaning of life, we must turn God's word, not the world's wisdom. And then, the next artwork is called In Circle of Life. It's all about experimenting and discovering. It is full of mystery, which makes a person to live with passion. There will be ups and downs to guide us for what is right and take us for the path which will make us from who we are. Those two artworks mentioned are visible in the office of the Consul General, as you may have realized during the opening of the exhibition. Let's move into our next virtual room, where we can see the artworks of several of our artists. Let us start with the artwork of Sara Tario called Acceptance. Sara is still studying and with the gallery several years. The two artwork of Kevin Kubinar are to be seen on the next panel. The left one is called Line Between the Lines, and the one on the right side called Overthinking 3. One of the artwork was done in 2019 and the right one in 2018. The right artwork as well is visible in the office of the Consul General in Frankfurt to be seen personally if wanted. At the next panel, you will see the three artworks of our sculpturist Austria Garcia from Pampanga. His left work is called Alice in Ordnung, which means in English all is fine. Arnell mentioned while describing the artwork as follows. The matrimony exists in time of pandemic between the two lovers. Remember the vow for better or worse in sickness and in health till death do us part. Arnell's second artwork is called The New Hope, which is described as follows. My entry depicts the apparition of a sprout features to the apparent environmental changes. The black and gray background is an illusion, only nature is innocent. The operation is designed to act now for the future. And the third artwork is held as well. The third artwork was done during the stay of Austria Garcia 2018 in Germany, when he was participating at the exhibition in Amsterdam and Frankfurt. The next artwork in this room on the next panel is called The Signs of Times by one of our lady artists, Patricia Colantes. This work is clearly influenced by the situation in the Philippines which the artist is facing right now. The next in line are the two artworks of the lawyer in our round of artists, Dexter Matias. He often is painting in watercolor as he did for the exhibition as well. The first artwork of Dexter is called Barong Barong. The second work on the right side is symbolizing the hope we are right now. He defines same by flowers, in that case the artwork called The Roses. Our last artwork in this spiritual exhibition room on the next panel is an artwork of our youngster, the self-taught artist Lucas Strana from Cavite. It is called Euphoria. The artwork he presents us is simply inspired by the survivors of the pandemic. Lucas is still studying and with the gallery since he was 17 years of age. Let's move into the third room of the virtual exhibition. You will see several panels with some very interesting artworks of artists. Let us start with the two artworks of General Godillo. The one on the left side is called Matatapos Din Ang Lahat, and the second one, The Power of Faith. The artist wants to share with the interested viewer that in every storm in our life, we are not supposed to lose faith. We have to keep on believing and everything has its ending. On the next panel, you will be seeing the two artworks of the Kapampangan artist Remy Pineda. The one on the left side is called The Conversation, and the one on the right side, Watch and Pray. Both works are influenced by the pandemic situation the artist is enduring the time in Angeles. Moving towards the next artworks, you will see the works of another of our lady artists, the artworks of Shelo Ilusorio. On the left side is the artwork called The Disastrous, which the artist describes as follows. The world isn't the same as what it used to be. Let us all be safe. And the second artwork of Shelo is called Social Distancing, which she describes as follows. Sometimes we need to be distant from people, not just to save ourselves, but to save many. Follow the rules. On the next panel, we can see the artwork of Joshua Villena called The Lockdown Stories, which again has a close relation to the situation we are in for time being. Joshua is still studying and with the gallery a few years now. And last but not least, we can see on the final panel of our exhibition the artworks of the Philippine Master of Watercolor, Mr. Rafael Popoy Cusi. Popoy, as his friends are calling him, is guiding and teaching the artist of the gallery since many years. He is not only spending his time with the artist during on-the-spot sessions, he is as well extending his knowledge of art and material to the group of artists without hesitation. The first artwork of Rafael Popoy Cusi on the panel on the left side was produced already 10 years ago and looks as fresh as from today. The artwork is available in the office of the Consul General, as you may have noticed during the opening. It is called the Red Abstract and shows the qualification of the artist who by any means produces huge body of works and all available mediums, from watercolor in crayons to acrylic and oil, and all different available styles and topics. The second artwork on the right side, as the last artwork in our exhibition as the top end, is called The Rhythmic Wave. The Philippine Master of Watercolor, Mr. Rafael Popoy Cusi, is called to describe his months in the pandemic as follows. He stated that in the beginning of lockdown, he was a bit irritated, but after a while, he continued to express on the canvas whatever he wanted to express, be it in landscape, in abstract, be it in oil, in watercolor, or in acrylic. He said he just expressed what he thought is needed to be expressed. The artwork we have chosen is done the other months during the pandemic and fits perfectly as the last and final work in our visual exhibition. We are at the end of the virtual tour through the three rooms, and on behalf of the General Consulate of the Republic of the Philippines in Frankfurt, Germany, and on behalf of the gallery, we would like to extend our sincere thanks for your presence. We hope you enjoyed the guided tour. For any further information, please do not hesitate to contact us through our different channels of communication. Thanks for watching. Thank you. Mabuhay. Vielen Dank.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be posting all those artworks and all clips after this online exhibition as well in Facebook, some in Instagram and on our website of Transwing Art Gallery. And I guess the Consul General will do the same on their Facebook page. Please feel free to inquire about more information on the artist and the artwork, pricing, material, medium use, size, through our emails, through our social media. We are not yet at the end. I would like to know, Vice Consul, was there any specific artwork that touched your heart?
Oh, for sure, Mr. Harto. Actually, I was looking out our artwork over and over again, and I think this one strikes me the most. This touches me the most. Can I show it to you on the screen? This is the artwork of the.
That's the artwork of Jillian.
Yes. Because Mr. Claus Hartung, this reminds me of Leandro style painting, so more on the geometric side of style art. Can you tell us more about this painting?
Actually, that was the reason I said the artwork sometimes doesn't speak for itself.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we need the artist to explain this artwork. The artwork actually is of the size 80 centimeter high and 60 centimeter wide. It's done in acrylic on canvas and was painted for the exhibition. It's called Color of Valley. And since we are in an online exhibition, and I know that maybe some questions will arise, we asked our artists to give us some hints, especially for the live streaming as well. What do they want to express? So we asked Jalene as well. She answered us for the topic. I love pastel colors, but in the pastel color here, accentuated even more, just to show there is always a new hope, just like a rainbow, the colors that signifies the new hope. Actually, the Color of Valley is from La Trinidad in Benguet, a place where the former households are old. And then some artists from Baguio went there. You can read it as well in some magazines. There were some artists from Baguio going there and painted the house with colorful colors. Mm-hmm. And nowadays, this is as well a kind of tourist spot in Benguet.
Yeah,
where people are going just to see the houses that are colorful and not brown or dark or gray anymore. So just like the colors of the valley, it used to be unnotified. Now the wine life that has become a tourist spot reflecting the cheerful of the Filipinos. Jillian, by the way, is born in 1967 and is staying coming from Negros Occidental, but now staying in Latvia.
Because this artwork reminds me of my quarantine days, actually, because we during the height of the pandemic we were all staying at home. But when I look at this picture, it feels like I'm not in a quarantine. It feels like I'm transported into Baltimore, painting like scenery from a town from a Philippine town, because many of Baltimore's paintings depicted Filipino culture, Filipino houses, Filipino architecture, and some these geometric figures. Correct, Mr. Huntley?
Yes, somehow that's the reason why we asked our artists paint something that is keeping you happy, that keeps you less depressed, that keeps you looking forward in the future. And I like this colorful artwork.
Me too. Actually, by looking at this photo, it made me happy already.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the next artwork, I would like to read some comments from our viewers. So, hello to Joseph Lizardo. He said the paintings are amazing. Well done, artists. And we have here Mr. Hoychad. Who else have commented? Miss Tina Diciccio. I think you know Miss Tina.
Tina is living in Singapore.
So hello to our kababayans in Singapore. And of course, we have also our colleagues from the Philippine Consul General here in Frankfurt who are supporting us in our event. So another painting that touched me the most is this one. Actually, there are a lot of elements of Philippine culture in this painting. Of course, we cannot see closely, but we have here the sorbetero. If you would take a look at it closely, and then you have here some mga larong Filipino, if I may say. Nung bata ako, naalala ko ng jumping rope, at meron pa tayong mga tuksong tinik, mga larong Filipino. These are the games we used to play when we were younger. And of course, we have here couple getting married. So Mr. Hart, kindly expound on this particular artwork.
You have
I see.
Yeah, this artwork is from one of our artists, from Anna Finemenzo, another lady artist in our gallery.
So we have a lot of lady artists from your gallery.
We have, I think we have 1/3 of our artists are lady artists compared to the amount of artists in the Philippines. I think we have a higher percentage of lady artists, but we don't go back by gender. It's not a qualification. If the artist needs the support, they can ask us to include them in our gallery. But this artwork is from Anna Finemenzo. It's high 61 centimeter and the wide is 46 centimeters. It's done on acrylic. It's done actually already in 2018. And but it's representing as well all these activities that Filipinas and Filipinos are doing during their lifetime. I asked it once Anna Fee when she was in Italy, I think, or was it in Berlin or Amsterdam? I'm not so much sure. I asked her as well, tell me the story. She said, that's the story. That's the story how we go through our life.
Well, in relation to the pandemic, these maybe are the activities that we used to do pre-pandemic times. But during the pandemic times, of course, we are very limited in our actions. So it speaks a lot to me because maybe this particular artwork represents some of the activities that we missed during the pandemic. And when I see this, it makes me happy that someday I can do these activities again. And of course, with the community, with my friends, with my family, and the community.
Yeah, especially the band here.
Yes.
And what Anna Fee told us when we asked her, what do you want to express with this artwork? She said the character is both developed and revealed by test. Well, it needs to be said, all of the life is a test and we should always go on. Purpose of our life is far greater than our own personal fulfillment, your peace of mind, or even your happiness. To discover the meaning of life, we must turn to God's word, not the world's wisdom. Anna Fee is a lady artist. She has a son, and she's coming actually from Tacloban and now living gently as in Kevin.
So now I understand more that this artwork is more like a reflection of the artist about life in general. Maybe when she was quarantined, she was thinking about these things, and just a reflection. It makes me appreciate this art more. But I must mention that this artwork is almost similar to this artwork.
It's
same?
a couple.
It's a couple of so can you further explain on that, Mr.
Yeah,
Brian?
it's the same structure that Anna Fee, just still young lady compared to me, my age. But she's always telling stories. This was the story how you should live your life, and there are specific more other stories like you see here. There are soldiers, there are children on with the bicycle, but you will always see in her artworks there is a canvas because she's an artist.
Do we have some healthcare workers there? We might see some nurses
Maybe
or
not now,
doctors.
but, as we mentioned as well in the clip, we have as well one of our artists who is a frontliner. He's a part-time artist. His artwork were as well in the clip reflected. Yes, and this one artwork in the middle, as I mentioned before, our friend Rafael Popolcusi, he was the one painting it already 10 years ago, so it has not a specific relation to the pandemic. But it's a really nice masterpiece, and this large piece we saw the last artwork in the exhibition. He's really a great watercolorist, but he can do anything. Acrylic, oil, art for it. It's really genius.
Before I ask you the artwork that touches you the most, let me invite again our dear followers to comment on the most striking or the artwork that touches you the most, and show some support, show some words of encouragement to our artists. So now, Mr. Hartung,
This is very hard to say.
yes, of course, you
I like
that.
them all. But to be honest, I purchased already one of the artworks. I purchased the artwork that is on our flyer. It is the heart that is done by Christian Carlo Gonzalez. He's our frontliner artist. I was really amazed by this artwork because he is actually a self-taught artist, and he developed that much skills during the time I know him now. He came from Baguio, actually. He's now residing in Metro Manila, and was so impressed of this artwork that I cannot resist sometimes to purchase. So this is actually my most favorite work, but there are many other artworks that if I would have the money, I would purchase more, but I'm pretty much sure there is well some viewers who are capable and are interested to acquire one of our artwork.
I noticed, Mr. Hartung, in general, most of the artwork contain like people in face masks, or those are in the hospital. So I think these are more on figurative style of painting, of artwork. So what made the artist through this kind of things? What were they feeling at the moment, at that moment?
I remember that Patricia mentioned when she did the artwork, Patricia Columbus, one of our lady artists, she's living with her two children and her husband. And she mentioned that he was in a restaurant with other artists. When they looked outside, she saw the people wearing masks, and this was already in the beginning of the year. You remember we had as well another disaster in the Philippines. There was the Tal volcano nearly erupted. So they were wearing masks, and she was so impressed by people wearing masks and still communicating and going ahead like nothing was there. So she started the same day already with the artwork. So we have some artworks that are direct relation to this pandemic, and some of the artworks are done by the artists. Maybe they were thinking about some religion topic, some depression. So we just keep it to the artists. Artists are special.
Actually, to be honest with you, I never imagined that I would be wearing mask in this in my life, in everyday life. It's a part of everyday life right now. But much more to see the face masks and the face shields and a lot of other things associated with the pandemic, make it to the canvases of our artists from Transwing Art Gallery.
Yes, I never experienced this as well before this pandemic started, and we must be realistic. It will continue for a few more years. We will have a new normal. Everybody will have this new normal, and the artists will have a new normal. The situations that we can just exhibit on specific places, and everybody would just by. I guess this will take years until we'll be back in the new normal.
And I think we're running out of time right now. So, dear followers, if you want to see more of the featured artwork for this online art exhibition, the photos are uploaded on our Facebook page. So please log on to our Facebook page and of course the Facebook page of Transwing Art Gallery. So any last point, Mr. Harden?
And last word, yes, support your kababayans in the Philippines. Support the artists. There is no social network for our artists, especially the full-time artists are living out of the creation that they are doing. And I see how disastrous it partly is. If you have a child and a wife who has to take care of the child and you lose your job in this kind of crisis, there is no income and even the parents or the family cannot support. So if you have some money left and interested in one of the art pieces, just message us and we will find a suitable agreement in price, delivery, and so on. Yes, thank you once more, Vice Consul Fatima. It was a nice idea to join in here with the exhibition, and then hope that your followers are interested in art and have the time to look for it again.
So thank you very much also, Mr. Hartung, and welcome. We hope that this artwork will speak to you and help you make sense of what is happening right now. And in return, please help us spark hope to our Filipino artists back home by supporting their artworks. So thank you for joining us today, and I hope to see you soon in the consulate when we have our next exhibition. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Vielen Dank, vielen Dank.
Thank you
Shoutout
po.
kay Ana. Shoutout kay Ana Fe. Galing-galing mo.